Good morning, I am Dr. Baneswar. Today I am going to make a video on larynx. So this is our larynx. This is the larynx, and this is the trachea, and the right bronchus and left bronchus, and this is the hyoid bone. This is hyoid bone, and this is the hyoid bone. This one is hyoid bone. This is the body of the hyoid bone, and the lesser wing of the hyoid bone, and this is the greater wing of the greater corner of the hyoid bone, lesser corner of the hyoid bone, and this is the body. So this is the hyoid bone, hyoid bone, and this is the thyroid cartilage. This one is the thyroid cartilage, and this is thyroid membrane. This is thyroid membrane. Then this one is the cricoid cartilage. This one is the cricoid cartilage. This is the epiglottis. Epiglottis. Then this is the laryngeal inlet. This is the laryngeal inlet. This part is called upper border of the epiglottis. Then this is aryepiglottic fold. This one is called aryepiglottic fold. And this is the interarytenoid nodes. This one is interarytenoid nodes, and this is the laryngeal inlet. Laryngeal inlet, and this one is the pyriform fossa. This one is pyriform fossa. Pyriform fossa. This part is called laryngopharynx. This part, laryngopharynx. The thyroid cartilage, hyoid bone, thyroid membrane. This part is called hyoepiglottic fold. There will be the hyoepiglottic fold, and this part is called follicula. This is the follicula. Okay, now this is the this one is the pyriform fossa. The epiglottis. Epiglottis. This epiglottis. Thyroid cartilage. Thyroid cartilage. So this is the false focal cord. This one is called false focal cord, and this one is called true focal cord. In between the false and true focal cord, this is the ventricle or sinus. This is a ventricle or sinus. This is the epiglottis. Epiglottis. This is the thyroid cartilage. The individual thyroid cartilage, right and left lamina of the thyroid cartilage. This is the thyroid angle, thyroid nodes, upper border, lower border, superior cornu. This is superior cornu, and this one is the inferior cornu. Superior, inferior cornu. The internal surface, external surface, thyroid angle, and this is also known as the Adam's apple. This is also known as Adam's apple, and this is the epiglottis, leaf-like. This is shape, leaf-like shape. Then this is the cricoid cartilage. This one is the cricoid cartilage, signet ring. It is signet ring shaped arytenoid cartilage. You see, This is the cricoid cartilage, and this one is the erythenoid cartilage. This is the erythenoid cartilage. I am holding the cricoid cartilage. In the posterior part of this cricoid cartilage, this is the right and left erythenoid cartilage. These are the right and left erythenoid cartilage, and this one is the inter-erythenoid fold. This is inter-erythenoid fold. So these are my handmade models. So here I will show the larynx individually, one by one cartilage. So this is the hyoid bone. Hyoid bone is the body of the hyoid bone. Lesser cornu of the hyoid bone, greater cornu of the hyoid bone, lesser cornu, greater cornu, and is the thyroid cartilage. The epiglottis, anterior surface, posterior surface, lateral border, upper border. This is the erythenoid cartilage. So the erythenoid cartilage movement is rotatory movement and sliding movement. There are two movements, rotatory and sliding. So this is the rotatory movement. This one is called rotatory movement in a vertical axis. The rotatory movement is in a vertical axis. Rotatory movement. Then sliding movement. Sliding movement. This is the muscular process. This is a rotatory movement. The shape of this thyroid cartilage is also known as Adam's apple. Adam's apple. Now, this is the epiglottis. This is the epiglottis. This is the shape of this epiglottis is leaf-like, leaf-shaped, and is the root. The root of the epiglottis is attached in the posterior surface of the thyroid cartilage in the midline. The root part of the epiglottis is attached in the posterior surface of the thyroid cartilage in the midline, and this is the hyoepiglottic fold. Hyoepiglottic fold. This is the lateral border of the epiglottis. Lateral border of the epiglottis, upper border of the epiglottis, and is the root. Okay. Then this one is the cricoid cartilage. This one is signet ring shaped cricoid cartilage. Cricoid cartilage is this thyroid. This thyroid cartilage, cricoid cartilage, and epiglottis are single. They are unpaired. Epiglottis, cricoid cartilage, and thyroid cartilage. Okay. Then see, this one is the erythenoid cartilage. This one is erythenoid cartilage. Erythenoid cartilage. Erythenoid cartilage is pyramidal in shape. It is paired. Erythenoid cartilage is paired cartilage. It is pyramidal in shape. It is having a base. This one is the base. The base is sitting over the cricoid cartilage. In the posterior part of the cricoid cartilage, this is the base. Base is sitting over the cricoid cartilage, and is the muscular process. This one is called muscular process. Laterally there will be two right and left muscular process, and there is a focal process. This one is called focal process. So in this focal process, this is a vestibular ligament. This one is called vestibular ligament, and this lower one is called focal ligament. So vestibular ligament and focal ligaments are attached posteriorly in the focal process, and anteriorly in the posterior surface of thyroid cartilage. Okay. Now see, Above the arytenoid cartilage, this one is the corniculate. This one is called corniculate, and this one is called cuneiform. Cuneiform is the upper cuneiform, and this is called aryepiglottic fold. This one is called aryepiglottic fold. Okay, so this opening is called laryngeal inlet. This opening is called laryngeal inlet. Okay, so this laryngeal inlet is formed by upper border of the epiglottis, upper border of the epiglottis. Then this is called aryepiglottic fold, right and left aryepiglottic fold. Then interarytenoid fold. This is called interarytenoid fold. Okay, now see, this one is called focal ligament. So this is called focal ligament, and this one is called this one is called vestibular ligament. This upper one is called vestibular ligament, and this lower one is called focal ligament. So these ligaments are covered by mucous membrane or mucosa. These ligaments are covered by mucous membrane. Then it is called fold. This upper one is called vestibular fold, and the lower one is called focal fold. But it is also known as false focal cord. This upper one, this vestibular fold, is also known as false focal cord, and this lower focal fold is also known as true focal cord, because it is associated with a muscle that is called focalis muscle. It is associated with focalis muscle. Okay, and this depression in between this focal fold and vestibular fold, I mean this gap, this depression between the false and true focal cord, this is called sinus or ventricle of the larynx. Okay, then see, there is a gap. There is a gap between this right and left sided focal cords. So this is the right sided focal cords, false and true focal cord in the right side. In the left side, false and true focal cords. So in between this right and left side, there is a longitudinal gap. This is a longitudinal gap. So this longitudinal gap is also known as rima. It is known as rima. What is this? It is a rima. It is a gap. It's a gap. Through this rima, through this gap, we take the respiration. Inspiration and expiration take place through this gap. That is called rima. Rima glottidis. Okay. Now, this one is called quadrate membrane. This one is called quadrate membrane. It is called quadrate membrane. So this quadrate membrane connects. Quadrate means quadrangular. It is quadrangular in shape. It is attached. It is having four sides. This is free side. This one is called aryepiglottic fold. The posterior side is free, aryepiglottic fold. The upper side is attached in the lateral border of the epiglottis. Upper border of this quadrate membrane is attached in the lateral border of the epiglottis. Then this the lower border of this quadrate membrane is attached in the false focal cord. This is the false focal cord. Then one border is left, that is the anterior border. The anterior border is attached with the thyroid cartilage. Thyroid cartilage. So these are the four sides, four borders of this quadrate membrane. Now this is the free border. This free border is called aryepiglottic fold. Aryepiglottic fold making the laryngeal inlet. This is the laryngeal inlet, which is formed by the upper border of the epiglottis, then aryepiglottic fold, then interarytenoid fold. Okay. Now this one is called cricofocal membrane. This is called cricofocal, between cricoid cartilage. Between cricoid cartilage and focal cord is a true focal cord. So in between the upper border of the cricoid cartilage and this through focal cord. This membrane is called cricofocal membrane. So inferiorly they are attached in the upper border of the cricoid cartilage, and superiorly they are attached in the through focal cord. Okay. So the most anterior part is the posterior side, and is the anterior side. So most anterior part of this cricofocal membrane is called cricothyroid ligament. It is called cricothyroid ligament. It is a strong ligament, cricothyroid ligament between the cricoid cartilage and thyroid cartilage. The thyroid cartilage. Okay. Now this is called pyriform fossa. This one is called pyriform fossa. So this pyriform fossa is bounded laterally by the thyroid cartilage, laterally, and medially by this quadrate membrane. Quadrate membrane. So in this area, most anteriorly there is a saculolarynx. This one is called saculolarynx. Saculolarynx is a mucus gland. So this mucus will be secreted from the saculolarynx, and it will be available in the sinus or ventricle. Sinus or ventricle. So during phonation, the mucus will help. The mucus will lubricate around the focal cords, which will prevent the friction between the focal cords and friction between the air column, between the air and focal cords. So this is about the cricoid cartilage and this epiglottis, then erythenoid cartilage and corniculate cartilage and cuneiform cartilage, then aryepiglottic fold and laryngeal inlet. Then this gap is called rima. This gap is called rima. Rima glottitis. Rima glottitis is again divided into three parts: supraglottic, glottic, and infraglottic. Okay. So now you see. So this erythenoid cartilage is a pyramidal shape. It is having a base and is the apex. It is having base is sitting over the cricoid cartilage, and is the apex. This apex will articulate with the corniculate cartilage, and two process. This is a muscular process and is the focal process. This is the muscular process. So by the help of the different muscles of this larynx, so there will be abduction and adduction. Now see here, the rima is open. That means the focal cords are abducted. Now the focal cords are adducted. In this adduction, we cannot see the rima. So there will be no gap. That is adduction. And due to abduction, you can see the rima open. Okay. Now we'll go to see the different musculature of the muscles of the larynx. So in this model, this is the thyroid cartilage. Epiglottis, and this is the erythenoid cartilage, pyramidal shaped erythenoid cartilage, corniculate cartilage, and this is cuneiform cartilage. So this is the aryepiglottic fold, upper border of the epiglottis, pyriform fossa. So now this is the thyroid cartilage. This is the right and left lamina of the thyroid cartilage. So this is the muscle, cricothyroid muscle. This one is the cricothyroid muscle. So cricothyroid muscle is the only muscle of the larynx. Cricoid is a cricoid cartilage, and is the thyroid cartilage. Between the cricoid cartilage and thyroid cartilage, this is the only muscle, cricothyroid muscle, which developed from the fourth pharyngeal arch. Cricothyroid muscle. Then the remaining muscles, the remaining other muscles of the larynx, all of them develop from the sixth pharyngeal arch. Okay, so this is the cricothyroid muscle. Cricothyroid muscle is having two parts. It is having two parts. One is the horizontal part and one oblique part. See, this is the horizontal part and is the oblique part. Okay, sir? So its attachment, lateral surface of the cricoid cartilage, lateral surface of the cricoid cartilage and medial surface of the thyroid cartilage. Attachment. Okay. So it is the only muscle of the fourth pharyngeal arch, cricothyroid muscle, and it is supplied by the nerve of the fourth pharyngeal arch. So our nerve of fourth pharyngeal arch is the superior laryngeal nerve. So the superior laryngeal nerve is divided into external laryngeal and internal laryngeal. So this internal laryngeal is a sensory nerve. Internal laryngeal is a sensory nerve entering to the thyroid, piercing the thyroid membrane. It will supply the mucous membrane of the vocal cord. Above the vocal cord and vocal cord, sensory nerve supply is the internal laryngeal nerve, which is the branch of superior laryngeal. So the external laryngeal is the motor branch. External laryngeal is the motor branch, and it supplies the cricothyroid muscle. So now axon. Now come to the axon of the cricothyroid muscle. So it is our normal position. This is the normal position. Okay, normal position. Now this is the muscle, cricothyroid muscle. So once the muscle cricothyroid contract, its length is shortened. Shortening of the muscle. Whenever the muscle goes to contract, there will be shortening. So due to this shortening, and now it is shortening. That means the muscle is contracting. So due to this contraction of the cricothyroid muscle, you see the anterior-posterior diameter. Now see, this is the original position. This is the anterior-posterior diameter. This is resting. This right half is resting, but this left half, due to this contraction, of this muscle, cricothyroid, there will anterior-posterior diameter is increased. So due to this increased anterior-posterior diameter of the larynx, the vocal cords, these ligaments will be in a tension due to the increased anterior-posterior diameter. Okay, so the action of the cricothyroid muscle will increase the anterior-posterior diameter of the larynx. Due to this increased anterior-posterior diameter, the vocal cord or these ligaments will be in the tension. They will also be in a tension. Now come to these other muscles. So this is the muscle thyroepiglottis. This is the muscle thyroepiglottis. Between the thyroid cartilage and epiglottis, thyroepiglottis. Then aryepiglottis. Between the erythenoid cartilage, and epiglottis, this is the aryepiglottis muscle. Okay. Then this is called intererythenoid. Between the two erythenoid cartilage, this is the intererythenoid. So this intererythenoid is again divided into two parts. One is the horizontal. This part is called horizontal, and this part is called oblique. Oblique intererythenoid. This is transverse erythenoid. So this transverse erythenoid connects to muscular process. This is the muscular process. So this transverse intererythenoid and is the oblique intererythenoid. Okay. Now come to this cricoerythenoid. Between the cricoid cartilage and muscular process of the erythenoid, this muscle is called cricoerythenoid. So this one is called posterior cricoerythenoid. This one is the posterior cricoerythenoid. Between the cricoid, posterior surface of the cricoid cartilage and muscular process of the erythenoid cartilage, this muscle is called posterior cricoerythenoid. So this posterior cricoerythenoid is called safety muscle of the larynx. It is called safety muscle of the larynx because it is the abductor. It is the abductor of the vocal cord. So here you can see. So you see this is the muscular process. So in this muscular process there will be the muscle posterior cricoerythenoid. So once this posterior cricoerythenoid contract, so this rima will be open. rima will be open. The rima is abducted. Vocal cords are abducted. Vocal cords are abducted due to the contraction of posterior cricoarytenoid. So that's why it is called safety muscle of the larynx. So whenever we sleep at night, our rima is always open. So this opening of the rima is done only by this muscle, posterior cricoarytenoid. So that's why it is called safety muscle of the larynx. Okay. Now come to this lateral cricoarytenoid. This is called lateral cricoarytenoid. Lateral cricoarytenoid, one attachment is in the cricoid cartilage, then other attachment is in the muscular process of the arytenoid cartilage. So whenever this muscle contract, there will be adduction. So this is our adduction. So in this adducted vocal cord, we cannot see the rima. The rima is closed due to the abduction of the vocal cord. So this abduction is done by lateral cricoarytenoid. So this is the abduction and is the abduction and abduction. Okay. So this is the lateral cricoarytenoid. Then this is the muscle thyroarytenoid. Posterior surface of the thyroid cartilage and muscular process of the arytenoid cartilage. It is also adductor. This one is also adductor. Okay. Then this one is the vocalis. This one is called vocalis muscle. So this vocalis muscle attachment posteriorly in the vocal process of the arytenoid cartilage, and anteriorly it is attached in the most anterior part of the vocal ligament. Okay, sir? Vocal ligament. So this is the muscle, vocalis muscle. Now see, this is the laryngeal inlet. This one is called laryngeal inlet. So this laryngeal inlet is closed. This laryngeal inlet is closed. So this is the closure of the laryngeal inlet. So this closure of the laryngeal inlet, the closure of the laryngeal inlet is done by this muscle, airy epiglottis. Closure of the laryngeal inlet is done by the airy epiglottis. Then this interarytenoids at the second stage of swallowing. At the time of second stage of swallowing, this opening laryngeal or this respiration is stopped by this closure. So this is a closed laryngeal inlet. So during this second stage of swallowing, the food bolus will slide. It slides over the posterior surface of the upper part of the posterior surface of the epiglottis during the second stage of swallowing. Okay. Now immediately after swallowing, this laryngeal inlet is again opened by this muscle, thyroepiglottis. By the help of the thyroepiglottis, this laryngeal inlet is again opened. Okay. So this is about the opening of the laryngeal inlet and closure of the laryngeal inlet. So by the help of this different contraction of these muscles, all the muscles of this larynx develop from the 6 pharyngeal arch except this cricothyroid. So cricothyroid muscle is supplied by superiolaryngeal. Which branch? External branch of the superiolaryngeal nerve. Then the remaining muscles are supplied by recurrent laryngeal nerve plus the mucous membrane below the vocal cord. So this vocal cord lining epithelium, vocal cord, and above the vocal cord it is supplied by a internal laryngeal branch, which is the branch of superiolaryngeal. Then below the vocal cord by the recurrent laryngeal nerve. Okay. Then is the pyriform fossa. This one is called pyriform fossa. So in this pyriform fossa, there will be lodgement of the foreign particle. Foreign particle means fish bone. Fish bones are trapping of fish bone in the pyriform fossa. So clinically it is very, very important. Okay. Pyriform fossa. So now one more thing we have to know. So this is the follicula. So there will be the tongue. There will be the tongue. So behind the tongue, I mean the in between the tongue and epiglottis, this part is called follicula. So in this follicula, our laryngoscope. This is the laryngoscope. This is the tip of the blade. Tip of the blade of the laryngoscope should be in the follicula. By the help of this laryngoscope, we visualize the laryngopharynx. We see the laryngeal inlet by the help of this laryngoscope, and the tip during this intubation, the tip of the laryngoscope should be in the follicula. Now this is called endotracheal tube. This is the endotracheal tube. This is the outer balloon and this is the inner balloon. So this endotracheal tube is put through this rima. The rima. So this is the endotracheal tube. So this is the inner balloon. So this inner balloon is inflated to prevent the automatic pulling of this endotracheal tube. So this intubation is done by this laryngoscope, keeping the tip of this blade in the okay. Thank you.